we're live. We're live on air. I love it. Hi, everybody out there in YouTube Landia. My name is Mr. Ike. I'm the executive director of our Westlake Charter School. And just above me, Ms. Caillou.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Caillou, your K-8 principal.
And I'm Amber Husted, your WAVE president.
That's right. We are bringing you the Coffee Talk live on YouTube. So if you're tuned in and you're not one of our spouses, then we really appreciate you being here. If you're one of our spouses, we appreciate you too. We had a great show for you today. We're going to go through the agenda real quick, and then we'll kind of get the show started. We want you to be part of the show. So if you're watching this live on YouTube, you're going to see this link pop up every once in a while. Where's the link at? Oh, here it is. You're going to see this link pop up every once in a while, and it's going to say, hey, go to, oh, no, it didn't work. Click there. There we go. You're going to see that link pop up, and it's going to say, go to bit.ly/WCS Coffee Talk Forum, and that's where you're going to put in your celebrations, and that's where you're going to put in your answers to the trivia questions. So as you see that link pop up, maybe scribble it down right now so you're ready to go. Just go to your Chrome browser or your Safari browser and type in bit.ly/ and then it's capital sensitive. Capital W, lowercase cs, capital C, capital T, capital F for Coffee Talk. Okay, let's dive in and do the show. Let's take a look at the agenda. Same format as always, everybody. First, we celebrate, and that means you. So start jumping on the form right now and give us some celebrations. We'll read them live on air. Next, we're going to present some information. We always come up with something. I think we've got some really cool topics for tonight. And then we'll do a Q&A. You use the form to send us your questions, and we'll do a Q&A at the end, and we'll try and make sure we end on time for that. So there you go. That is the show. Any questions that we don't answer live on air, we'll make sure we get to, though, going forward. Let's do some celebrations. Before we jump into the slides, anybody got a celebration they just want to throw out there? Mrs. Husted, you got something? You good to go?
Absolutely. Last week, we were on fall break, and I think a really fun thing that happened at our house is getting progress reports, because I have 4 kids, and so we checked the mail, and I'm like, progress reports for everybody. And so we kind of shared them and talked about how school has gone so far in the last 6 weeks, and it was kind of a cool way to then start up back into school this week. So I thought it was well done that we got the progress reports, and I really like the continuation of that.
Yeah, I love it. Mrs. Caillou, you got something to celebrate?
Of course. I was trying to think of which one I wanted to celebrate out loud. I think one of the things that this afternoon I got to meet with a couple 8th graders, and they are helping me to come up with some questions to the NUSD board candidate forum. It's next Tuesday night, and these 8th graders have the opportunity to participate and come up with questions that are important to 8th graders and to our community. And I was just proud of those students that came on their own time and are just dedicated to learning more about the process, where we were like, what is a board? And we talked about our board and their board, and it was just great. And I just celebrate those kiddos that are continually learning and having the desire to be part of their community.
Yeah, we do this every year. It's amazing. You watch our 8th graders get all buttoned up and ask a very formal question to a board candidate, and it's such a formal introduction to public service, public life. Really good stuff, and our 8th graders are amazing. I could pick from a hat. There's so many things to celebrate. I feel like I would like to celebrate my daughter, Abigail. She's amazing. And what she celebrated yesterday was the Scholastic books. From the Scholastic book orders are starting to trickle in. And we got a couple books. And she was just like, I think there's something about being, all of us on quarantine or whatever. We're all at home. Anything that comes into the home is like, yes, this is amazing, right? So having something from school kind of come into the home was such a celebration for us. So I love the Scholastic book orders are coming through. I loved, I love all the distance learning kits that come through and come home. That little bridge between school and home is really a big deal at our house. Hey, Ms. Caillou, do we have any celebrations that have come through the form yet?
We have one so far.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Anna Thomas said, celebrating the precautionary measures that the school takes during these times and kind of relieved that the school is not reopening even though we missed it. We have just adjusted to the new routine and it would cause a total chaos to switch again so soon.
Yeah.
So we are so thankful.
Ah.
Thank you for that, Anna.
Yeah, and we're not going to open it up for a public debate tonight, but I guess, hey, we did send out a letter that said we're going to take it slow, we're going to take it safe, we're going to do this right. The health and safety of our students, our staff, and our community is number one. So everything we do up till now and everything we do going forward regarding reopening schools is through that lens. So yeah, I'm with you, Anna. Let's take it safe and let's not disrupt things too quickly. Let's take a look at some of the celebrations on the slides. Let's see. Who want? Ms. Husted, you want picture day?
I love all of these celebrations, so absolutely. Picture day was so fun. My family happened to go on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, so right after school, I think we were the first group there. It was extremely well organized. I had 4 kids take pictures in 5 minutes, and the staff that was helping organize it kept everything flowing, kept everybody very safe. And then the 2 people taking pictures, they showed us the pictures so we could approve them, which was a really cool. I've never been there when my kids took pictures before, so it was just a really cool thing to go, yeah, I like that picture, or no, can we change it? And so we were in and out in 5 minutes, and it was just fantastic. So we really appreciate it, and very well done.
Yeah, what a cool thing to say. You've never been there when your child took a picture. Like, we're Ms. Caillou and I are at school. We see the picture day all the time, but you're like, oh, I've never seen this. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Ms. Caillou, you want to take the next one? And for families at home, I put the link back on the screen. We'd love to have you celebrating too. Ms. Caillou, you got this one?
Yeah, specialties during distance learning. It's really fun to see specialties still in action in our homes as kids participate in PE or in Spanish. I saw that Miss Jackson was on campus this week and she was putting out some new supplies for certain grade levels. And so it's just exciting. I have the opportunity to meet with the specialty teacher team every week, and they're just so dedicated to making sure that 1,000 kids get their specialty class during this time. So specialties, and thanks for parents for being motivated to keep your kids doing it. And I know that kids, it's enriching for kids, so that's a definite celebration.
Yeah, I love the pictures too. It's so good. Like, yeah, it's joyful learning for sure. I will take WCS Spirit Friday Sports Day. These pictures are the best. Hey, families, if you're engaging in our Spirit Friday, please hashtag WCS Spirit Friday. If you don't know how to hashtag, send it to admin@westlakecharter.com. I'll hashtag it and send it out because I just love all the pictures that go out. And I know every one of the kids on the screen here, and everyone makes me smile. Mrs. Harold is got to be my favorite, though, with a big football on her head. She is something else. All right, keep doing the Spirit Fridays. We love them. What's up next? Who's got this one? Houston, you want to take the Sutter Sport, and then Jen, you take the Touch of Understanding?
Absolutely. Both of my kids actually participated in these because I have a 4th grader and a 1st grader. But Sutter Sport, I kind of was around for both of those, but a little more for Sutter Sport. And it was just fantastic. I mean, the kids are learning about life long ago, and they're like cutting out. I mean, that's the great thing about the distance learning kids too, is they're cutting out pictures and they're identifying these objects. And then I did learn that this is Mrs. Harold's. Well, what's her new last name?
Ms. Harold Jones.
Thank you. Her husband, who led this, and it was fantastic. So he was showing them everything from, you can see the wagon behind him, to medical supplies and things that they ate with long ago, and just so many cool interactive experiences for these 1st graders. And I think that was the first virtual field lesson of the year, and it was just very well done and exciting and just perfect for that age group. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, first virtual field lesson of the year. I love that. Ms. Kaya, you want to talk us through Touch of Understanding? I love that one.
Yeah, I love A Touch of Understanding. It's such an incredible event that we typically have on campus, right? So we typically have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about people that may have a disability. And sometimes when they're on campus, they learn about people that might be blind, and they get to walk around. But this became a virtual experience where we had individuals speak to our students about maybe a disability that they have and how they've overcome, and they've and how they are so part of our community. And it helps our students to have a better understanding of each other, that we're all made a little different, and that sometimes a disability might be something that you see with your eyes, and sometimes it's not. And helping to have better understanding of each other. And it's such a powerful time where kids really start to understand and kind of look at themselves and others and be like, oh, have a deeper understanding and be better humans. And so I love this time. I love that we provide it for our students, and it changes them. It helps them to have a better compassion and understanding of each other. And so we believe in full inclusion on our campus, and this empowers our students to understand that deeper. So a great opportunity for fourth grade. And we feel like it's appropriate at that age that kids get it. So it's wonderful.
Great. I'm so glad that we have it still. I worried that going to distance learning, we're going to lose out on these great events. So glad we still have those. Hey, I'll just celebrate. We've got this little bit.ly here, bit.ly/WCHS, Westlake Charter High School videos. You can follow along with a high school video series. We're putting out a video every couple of weeks for 7 weeks total or 6 weeks total, just describing all that is Westlake Charter High School opening up in the fall. We're very excited about the work. Watch the videos, give us feedback, ask questions, and those questions will populate our FAQ, or frequently asked questions page, on this little website that you see here, which you can find at bit.ly/WCHS videos. So check it out. Great stuff happening for the high school development. We're so excited. Really, every video we make, we get more and more excited about it. It's coming. It's becoming reality, right? It's coming to reality. So it's good stuff. Hey, are there any other celebrations in the tank?
Funny you asked that. We just got a celebration about your video. So Veronica Hernandez said, thank you, Mrs. Batt and Mr. Ike, for your amazing high school videos. So that's a celebration that just came in. Yeah,
we love making them, and I think there's just really good stuff. That high school is going to be phenomenal. There's so many good pieces to it. So again, the agenda tonight is we celebrate, then we do some information, then we'll host a Q&A. The first piece of information up tonight is mine. I'm going to talk about reflection, action, and transformation. I'm going to try and keep it to 5 minutes. By now, you've met me. I'm so passionate about this topic that I might go long, but please, like, somebody give me a 5-minute wave. So reflection, action, transformation, like what is that? So you might remember back in June when we sent out a letter from our school to our community denouncing racism and making a commitment to anti-racism. But since June, there's been a lot going on here at school. We were talking about distance learning and all the things, but the work hasn't stopped. And I wanted to tell you about that. I wanted you to know that behind the scenes, a lot of great work is happening around this reflection, action, and transformation framework. And you might be thinking, what is a reflection, action, transformation framework? What are you talking about, Mr. Ike? Well, this letter that we wrote to our community really shared our feelings about the events in our community regarding systemic and institutionalized racism. It was certainly in response to George Floyd, but it gave us an opportunity to articulate some of the things that we believe deeply about school and community and the things that we love. And so we even opened up the school year with our staff by workshopping this letter as an instructional device. We said, hey, staff, this is the letter that went out on behalf of all of us. Let's look through it. And you look at this letter, we highlighted all the verbs. Such a teacher thing to do, right? We went there like, well, the verbs are the actions. What actions are we supposed to take? And by highlighting the actions, we came up with this really interesting list. Like, this is what the letter says we should be doing, which is fascinating because the last 3 verbs are reflection, action, transformation. And we all kind of stood back and went, yeah, that is a cyclical process that we should be able to engage in year after year after year. It makes our school better and better and better. And so we've launched this reflection, action, transformation framework to make our school better, make it more reflective of this amazing community that we're in. If you know anything about Westlake, kind of behind the scenes, we have an amazing leadership team, over 20 teachers and classified staff who come together, 2 or 3 times a month and really do the the design work that makes our school so phenomenal. All of our instructional plans, our curricular plans, all the things that you experience as a community member come from our teachers and our classified staff through this shared leadership model. And they've launched a committee. It's the Reflection Action Transformation launch prep team, right? So they're ready to launch this work. And they've been working now for months on this. And there's really good stuff happening. I wanted to kind of share it with our community. It's a peek behind the scenes. We have one small group who's interviewing some facilitators, people who go into schools and organizations and help schools analyze implicit bias and, really look through the organization for how can we help ourselves grow in this process. So we're looking at some facilitators, interviewed some amazing people around the country. Some people do it virtually, some people fly in. We've interviewed other leaders of other schools who were maybe a few years ahead of us along this work. And it's been fascinating to find out that, some of our own deep pedagogy and beliefs are already, we're not starting from ground zero. We are in a good place, and talking to other leaders is very validating, but it's also very telling of how could we engage more in this work. And we've talked to several superintendents and principals around the country who've kind of guided us through their process. And the third team is really identifying professional development opportunities for our staff, as well as time and resources. And this is important because it's not just for our teachers. I mean, we always think about, you're going to do professional development, like teachers are going to learn stuff. This is for our board of directors. It's for our certificated and our classified staff. And at some level, and maybe not this year, but at some level, how does this affect our students and the dialogues we have with our students? And maybe that goes there. And I got to tell you, this is a parent coffee talk hosted by Wave, so I'll say it out loud. I am just dying to get a parent guiding coalition involved as well. And so that's on the table. We thought we'd share it with you because it's such important work. Now, this work, this reflection, action, transformation, is not just it's in response to the horrific death of George Floyd. Really, if you look at our school and the documentation that we already have, we have a mission statement that reads, we demonstrate what is possible when school and community collaborate to create inspiring adults with the academic and social emotional readiness to lead as global citizens. So I tell you that because what is an inspiring adult? An inspiring adult is somebody who can lead as a global citizen. Okay, so you got a mission with a subject and an outcome. These children should become inspiring adults who lead as global citizens. So what's this got to do with reflection, action, transformation? Well, if you read our strategic plan, which we published 2 years ago now, goal area 5 of our strategic plan says that our students will graduate from our 12th grade someday as global citizens. And global citizens, by Westlake Charter School standard, is defined as inspiring adults who embrace equity, inclusion, diversity, and cultural competency. And we're even toying with the idea of embracing anti-racism as well. But this language is already in the documents of what is Westlake. This is already the mission of the school. And so this reflection, action, transformation protocol is right in line with what we should be doing to fulfill our own strategic plans. And so we're excited about this work. I mean, we're in one of the most diverse zip codes in the nation, and we should acknowledge that and be working toward it. So I want to give you a peek behind the curtain of but what is reflection, action, what does that look like? What do you mean? I'll give you a peek of a little piece of professional development that our staff have started to engage in, and they're going to finish engaging in it at a PD coming up soon. It's really exciting. It's this really cool article, Reed. I'll drop a link maybe in the Westlake Weekly. Little two-page article by Rudine Sims Bishop, and it's called Windows, Mirrors, and Sliding Glass Doors. And what it says is we should all look into our classrooms or into our homes and look at our libraries, look at the books, look at the curriculum, look at the things on our walls, and recognize that to our students, those are all windows, sliding glass doors. What that means is you read a book, it should be a window into the experience of people unlike yourself. You should be able to experience what life is like to other people by reading a book, and that book becomes a window into someone else's experience. Well, that's amazing, right? The problem is that in most American classrooms across this country, there's been awesome research done about this, that, there are not enough books written by authors of color or reflective of students of color. And so often, the books aren't windows into the diversity that is our amazing zip code, right? That is Natomas. And so we would ask ourselves, do we have enough books in each classroom that are windows into the experience of every child in our classroom? And the second piece there is books should be mirrors, right? I should be able to hold up a book and see myself reflected in that book, reflected in the experience, reflected by the characters in that book, and I should see those characters in that book who look like me doing amazing things that then I believe I can grow up and do those things too. And so the problem is that, again, there's too many books, or there's not enough books that have characters that look like our students of color, right? So why would we bring this up then? It is a reflective protocol for each of us then to go into our classrooms and look at our books, because we love our books in school, right? We love our books. We should look at our books. Are they windows to share the experience of the broad, diverse backgrounds of our children? And are they mirrors that encourage all of our children to see themselves reflected in literature and know that their pathway, they can open up that sliding glass door and go into a future that is possible? It is a really cool protocol. Well, that would be a reflective piece. The action involved with that would be like, hey, we've already set aside some money and said, hey, staff, we're going to allocate some money. Go through this reflective protocol, look through your library, through this lens of windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors, and then enrich your library with some of this money, and then we'll try to continually diversify our curriculum so that it becomes more reflective. And so that's kind of a representation of what reflection, action, certainly this one little exercise isn't going to lead to transformation, but it will lead to some of our students being able to see through these books the experience of their colleagues, and see through these books an experience that represents themselves. And I would encourage families, like I know a lot of you donate to your classroom or give gifts to your teachers. Hey, we love books. No pressure, please don't go out and buy things, but like we love books. If you were to bring a book to school that represented the unique culture of your family, that is a gift that would just keep on giving. Maybe we have several books in this particular classroom that represent some Latino students, but maybe your family's Chilean or Peruvian, and you're like, no, this book right here is by a Peruvian author or by a Chilean author and really represents our family's culture. Well, you'd be giving a window to your classroom where every child in that class can see the experience of your child, and you'd be giving a mirror to that classroom so that every child like yours from now on could walk into that classroom and see themselves represented in the literature. And so it's just a cool little example of the work we're doing. It is really the tip of the iceberg, but we're excited about it. Our teachers are leading it. I could give you a laundry list of the teachers on this team, and you love them all because they are doing incredible work. So, okay, I'm sure that was more than 5 minutes. Rant over. But I'm really excited about this work. We hope that you are too, and we hope that we can stay connected on this work and do it together. Mrs. Houston, you want to jam a little bit?
Yeah, can I do a trivia question first?
Oh yeah, I forgot we were gonna do a trivia question. Yeah, give us a trivia question.
We have some fun trivia gear. Here's like the Westlake sunglasses that I love.
I got those.
And then we have some stickers and some more water bottles and some other stuff that we want to give away. So based on what you were talking about, one awesome question if for some people that may be watching haven't even been on the campus much because we've been closed. And so one of the cool things about our campus is that it is kind of designed as a globe and as the world. And so here's the first trivia question, is there's a central part of our campus that students walk up and down all day long, and what is it called? I love it. We refer to this often, and what is it called? So that's a great question.
You're describing the hallway that goes from
it's just the middle of the campus that connects basically, let's say middle school to
all the way
second kindergarten.
All the way kindergarten.
That students walk through multiple times a day.
Yes.
Traveling.
Yeah, so I know exactly what it is. What is the pathway called that goes between 8th grade and kindergarten across our place in the global world? Okay, I love it. Use the link on the screen to answer that trivia question, and we'll award you after the next section. Okay, Mrs. Houston, what do you got for us tonight?
So I just wanted to talk about WAVE a little bit. At the last WAVE meeting, we talked about what is WAVE and what is our goal this year, and kind of why do we fundraise? Because there's a lot of things that we do that are important. We build community. We collaborate with the school, and a lot of times that has been like on field lessons and helping in the classroom and doing those things that I think we're kind of missing a little bit right now. And so that's kind of the second piece. And we build community, and we have community events. And the last piece is we fundraise. And I know right now it feels like, what are we fundraising for? And I kind of just wanted to just touch on that, is that WAVE does, in order to hold these community events that we love every year, that we may not see this year, but we're hoping to see next year. We do, like typically bingo night, we do movie night, we do a science night, and all of these nights are free. In order to hold those type of community events, we use funds from the previous year's fundraising. So if we don't fundraise anything this year, we're not going to have any to spend next year. And additionally, we really supplement the school's income. And we know that income as a whole is down right now. I mean, the school funding has been cut. A lot of things are kind of up in the air right now with the state budget and those types of things. So now is a really important time to continue to support our school, both, as a community and financially. So I just wanted to kind of talk about why we do fundraise, because you're going to see a fundraiser coming up, which is the Olympic Triathlon. So this is WAVE doesn't typically ask anybody to sell candy bars or to sell wrapping paper or to do these kind of fundraisers that people, that may not even work this year, because a lot of times people take them to work. Right. There's just a lot of that is really up in the air. So this is just a fundraiser where we do ask for money. And the best way to do that is you create this website, and we're going to launch it this weekend. And your student creates a website, and you send it to friends and family. Tell them why you love this school. Yeah. And it's just a great way to say, hey, Grandma, can you give us $5 for our school? We'd really appreciate it. And so we just share with our community and with our family. And like I said here, this is a celebration. So the Olympic Triathlon was really about celebrating our three specialties, because it's extremely unique to have these three specialties that are taught by credentialed teachers. Mm-hmm. So this is just a way to celebrate that, and then just come together as a community and raise some money for our school. And then in November, it's the 13th annual Olympic Triathlon, and on Friday the 13th, we are going to have an event day where the students all virtually this year are going to celebrate those specialties in their classroom with their teacher. And it's going to be just a really fun day, and we're so thankful for our specialty teachers for really coming in and helping us plan this day. So be on the lookout for more information, and I just wanted to kind of give an overview of that and why we fundraise.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for putting that out there. I appreciate you unpacking that, Amber, because it's more than selling braided bread. If we go out there and celebrate what we love about this school, and say, hey, Grandma, I love my school, and we're looking for a $5 donation from Grandma, I think that's a better donation than we would get from the cookie dough. So, yeah, thanks for celebrating that.
Yep, I love Olympic Triathlon. And then next, part of kind of fundraising, we're looking to form two committees. Now, we've mentioned one of them a lot. You want to hit the next one, is the fireworks booth. We want a committee to lead this. The fireworks booth can bring in up to $15,000, which covers every single community event we do throughout the entire year. So this is a really important fundraiser. And we just want a team that can get together, and it's basically a week's worth of, working out schedules and getting this all put together. And we would really appreciate if you could volunteer. So if you can volunteer, you can email me. You can email admin@westlakecharter.com. And if you have some friends you want to work with, that's great. If not, let's put together a committee. And I would just really love to get that going. And then corporate donations. So one of the things that we've been looking at is there's a lot of schools and then other places, other nonprofits getting a lot of donations from corporations. Some of them are doing quite well right now. It's, the different sectors, some are doing really well. And so we just want a committee that can ask for donations. So if we want to do online, like virtual kind of silent auction baskets, we can do that. There's lots of different options. So we're looking for a committee to put that together. And that's all stuff you can do just on your computer at home. A lot of it is just forms that you fill out and you ask for donations, because most companies have it kind of set up that way. And they have a certain amount they give to nonprofits. So we would love if you would help us with that.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for organizing that, Ms. Husted. It's such an important deal. Nobody likes the idea that, oh my goodness, we're out to raise money and that's what we're talking about. But the reality is, right, as as a charter school, we have to give a couple of percentages of every dollar we get from the state. A couple of percentages goes back to the district for facility. Another percent goes back to the district for oversight. So as a charter school, we already get less money than other schools. And I think we do a pretty darn good job with the money we get. I mean, our kids all get what they get, and this is a great place. I mean, our family certainly loves what our student gets here. So I think it's okay for us to say, hey, let's see if there's people out there willing to drop a $5 here or a $5 there, and let's collect those in a hat and, keep this place running the way it could and should. So thank you for doing that. I know it's not the favorite part of anybody's gig, but I think it's super important. And I love the Bitmoji.
I forgot to mention that. This is the wave board, and we all created our little Bitmojis, and Rocio Owens put this together, and it's adorable.
It's just great. I love it.
And then I think there's one last thing.
Oh, I apologize. Oh, yeah, the Spirit Store.
The Spirit Store is open right now. And Mr. Ike is wearing a polo that you can get at the Spirit Store. I'm wearing one of the little Westlake jerseys that you can get at the Spirit Store. And then one of my favorites, I'm not wearing it right now, but these trucker hats are awesome. So there's lots of items for sale on the Spirit Store. It does close on October 19th, which is next Monday. And then the website, I think, is just below this. And it's Westlake.spokencloth.com. It's super easy. It's on the Wave page. It's in the weekly. It's all over the place. And so if you want to place an order, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew the date.
Yeah, they got cool little masks. They got me some Westlake
masks. They're cute. They're cute. And there's all different sizes, which is nice. There's various sizes, so it's not just a one-size-fits-all.
They have a bearded man size, which is good. I got the big one. It's good. Hey, do we have a winner for the trivia question? Who won?
We do. We have Sandra Crowell, and she is the winner for this time.
What's it called?
But I do want to say, what is the answer, Mr. Ike? What's the answer?
The answer is the equator?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And Sandra got it correct.
Awesome.
And Max Batten, Mrs. Batten's son, also put it in, and he got the equator too. But
boy,
Sandra,
yeah.
There you go.
I think we got to double down the prizes. I think Max should get a prize there.
Yeah, I agree.
He's kindergarten. I don't know if he's been on campus for school yet. So if he knows the equator,
somebody would have helped him at home.
Yeah, no, he's got it. Oh, okay, Mrs. Kaya. Oh, do you guys want to launch another question while Mrs. Kaya rolls? What do you got, Ms. Houston?
So Westlake has 10 core values.
Mm-hmm.
And so we typically celebrate one a month. So what is the core value that we celebrate in October?
Oh, man, that's a good one right there. I think I got it. I'm going to write it down. All right, Ms. Kaya, you're up. Families, what core value do we celebrate in October? And you can't just submit all 10 at 10 different times. We'll cancel you out. Look at you, Joe Clark. All right. What do you got, Ms. Caillou?
Yeah, I just wanted to take an opportunity to talk about personalization. It's really important to our school. It's one of our pillars. Excuse me. And so I wanted to speak about one way, actually two ways that we are continuing to do that right now. So sometimes parents have been saying, how can students get extra support during level 1 distance learning? So how do I get access to people that might be able to help support me during that time? So I wanted to highlight two different ways that you can do that. One is office hours. So all of our staff on campus have office hours that are provided. Most of them are from 1:15 to 2 o'clock. Sometimes our kindergarten's a little different because they have different hours of which they're in school. But we have, every day there are office hours, and they are run by our teachers. And so you have the opportunity to come and meet one-on-one with your teacher, to finish an assessment, to ask for clarification. Oftentimes that's the time mom pops in and asks the question about the assignment that maybe they need a little help on, right? So for a family, but teachers are there to give that support. In middle school, if I could be totally honest, is the highlight of our Teachers' Day, because kids will come and just hang out with their teachers and ask questions and work with their teachers. And I often meet with teachers after 2 o'clock, and they're excited, and I'm like, why? They're like, because I just had 4 cool kids sit around and do math with me after school. And so use the office hours. That's provided from our teachers, which has been just a success. It gives the chance to also have that one-on-one connection that a lot of kids and families are longing for because of the virtual environment. It's a little trickier. And so we have office hours provided by teachers. We also have something that just launched on September 28th, which is our virtual learning lab, which is really awesome. We are very excited to offer this, and this is another additional support. So if your kid was like 1:15 to 2, couldn't show up, but they need that extra help, I can sign up for the virtual learning lab. So the virtual learning lab, on every grade level splash page, you can click on the link that signs up to be able to go and be a part of a virtual learning lab experience. They are run by our instructional aides that spend time in all of our classrooms. So the instructional aide that works in middle school math, Sterling, he is the one that provides the support during the virtual learning lab. So another one of our instructional aides that works with kindergarten is the person that you would go to and get that help. So they work so closely with the teachers, and sometimes the teacher will say, "Hey, buddy, can you go to virtual learning lab and get a little support on that assessment?" Or, "Hey, mom, this is an option that you can use." And we've just had so many successful experiences so far where our instructional aides are glowing. They're excited. Mrs. O'Hagan works really closely with them right now. And that was their highlight of their team meeting, is that they are having the opportunity to meet with students and help support them. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to really celebrate those two things and say that they're there for you as a family. John, those are just a bunch of clicks. That's okay.
Yeah, I realized I was like, those are the highlights.
We offered and said it out loud to our families that those are two supports, that they are there for you, and we are thrilled to have them. And so please use them. And if we can do better by serving your family, let us know. Let us know how the virtual learning lab is going from your family's perspective too. So just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, great stuff, great stuff. Before we jump into the next part of the show, which is my part, do we have a trivia winner?
Let me check this out. Let me see. My form is going slow, so I'm sorry.
I'm going to see if I was right. Do you have the answer, Ms. Caillou? Do you know the answer?
I do know the answer.
You do.
Do you know the answer?
Well, I might be wrong. I think it's excellence, but I could be wrong. What is the answer, Jen?
Responsibility.
God, I thought so. Okay, well, all right, you got me. Well, I didn't get a free trucker hat. Or no, that's not what we're giving.
You didn't get a free trucker hat, and nobody answered. So make sure you put in for the trivia.
There we go. Well, there we go. We gave away the answer. I think it was a hard question. Do you have another question you want to ask, Amber?
I do. I'm sorry. It was so hard.
That was good.
Okay, I think this one's pretty easy.
Okay.
Name 3 sports. You know I love our Explorer Athletics program. Name 3 sports that students participated in last school year in our middle school Explorer Athletics program.
I got that one. I didn't get responsibility, but I got the sports one.
You got the sports.
So use the link on the screen to make sure you answer the trivia question. I'll go through this last piece here. I know we're about 10 minutes behind. I apologize, team. We'll hit this piece, and then we'll go to question and answer. So if you have a burning question at home, families, stay tuned. We'll get through this steps to reopening section, and then we'll do a Q&A with the rest of the time we have left in the show. Should be maybe 10 minutes left in the show. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about steps to reopening. It's a really interesting time. Today's October 13th, and we should have gotten news from the county today regarding next steps. And so there's like brand new, hot off the press information coming out right now. What you see on the screen right here, right now, right, is this is the Sacramento County Public Health Department's epidemiology, a website that tracks the number of new COVID cases per day in Sacramento County. And, each yellow line represents one day. And if you watched one of our previous videos from Westlake Charter School, you'll know that we've been going to that county website every single day and tracking it on our own little spreadsheet over here to determine, like, when do we think schools in the county are going to reopen. We've been doing that work, but the county's also been curating it for us, and we'll kind of give you the traction on what they're saying. So the county data's been trending down. Remember, the marker is that you need to have less than 7 new cases on average per day, less than 7 new cases on average per day per 100,000 inhabitants of a county. Well, we have 1.5 million inhabitants in Sacramento. So that's like 15 sets of 100,000. 7 new cases per day times 15, you get you somewhere around 105-ish. So any day below 105, that's kind of the target. Well, about 3 weeks ago, we started trending below 7 cases per day. In fact, if you squint, you can see on my little chart over here, 3 weeks ago it was like 6.7. I can't even read what that says, but it's like 5.1, 4.6. So that's the county data. So what does that mean, right? It means that the COVID data is currently trending down. Now, hey, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just tracking the same data that we all have access to, and we don't know that it's not going to spike up tomorrow. I'm not here to tell you any predictions because I have none, but that's what the data looks like right now. So the Sacramento County Office of Education and the Sacramento County Public Health team are preparing to allow schools to take next steps toward reopening. Now, we've heard of some private schools that are like, great, we're going to jump out there and get going. And everyone's got their own position on this. However, as we look around the county, we've got our ear to the ground, and we're sitting at the table with all of the superintendents, all 13 traditional public school districts, all under Dave Gordon, the county superintendent at the Sacramento County Office of Education. We are not hearing a single district out there that's racing to reopen. This is a big shift. I mean, we heard it in Anna's celebration earlier today. We're just kind of finally getting used to one thing. To make the shift to the next thing is going to be a massive shift. And I know Westlake will do an amazing job at that shift, but I don't want to fool anybody to think that it's something we could do quickly and do well, right? You can do something quickly, you can do something well. You can't have both. And so let's talk about what next steps actually look like. Over here on the right, you'll see the data that's available on the California blueprint for a safer economy. So what I showed you before was the county data. It doesn't exactly mirror the state data. The state data actually goes in and removes like the prison population from the daily numbers, and so you get a little bit of a different number, but still the same trend that it's trending down. And remember the California blueprint for a safer economy gives each county one of 4 metrics. You say, hey, you're either at minimal level of viral spread, moderate, substantial, or widespread. In Sacramento County for many, many weeks since this whole thing launched was in widespread, but it just a couple of weeks ago moved from widespread to substantial. So from purple to red. But it's good. We're trending in the right direction. I don't know that anybody's saying like, it's kind of like the spare the air day. When we're on purple and we're like, oh, you can't even breathe. Oh, thank goodness. It's just unhealthy now. Like, it's like going from purple to red's not awesome, but it's a move in the right direction, right? So We've gone from purple to red on the county data. But what that means is if our county stays in the substantial zone for 2 weeks sequentially after we move to red, then schools can consider next steps to reopening. Well, we have now, as of today, October 13th, been a full that full 2-week spread, or 3 weeks total, the first week plus 2 subsequent weeks. So I have not seen, although we looked this afternoon, we saw that the county was designated as the 3rd week of red, but we did not see any press release that says, okay, you're good to go. I'm sure by tomorrow morning we will see some type of information from our county office that says, okay, you're good to start moving forward. Having said that, we've been tracking it. We know that it's coming, and so we're starting to get ready in the background as to like what should we do next. And so I kind of want to show you our calendar, right? Here we are, just in October, right here. We started up here in August. It's hard to believe. For some of us, it feels like it's been a year. Some of us, it feels like it's flown by in 3 days. It's amazing. But here are the steps to determining a reopening date. When should we reopen the school? And again, we've talked since the beginning that the health and safety of our students, our staff, and our community are the first priority. And so we're not going to rush into making a decision. We're not going to rush back to school. There's a lot of good work to be done, and we have a great team to do it. But we have to work with our regional partners. I was on the phone today with Joe Wood, the executive director of Natomas Charter School. I was emailing with Chris Evans, the superintendent of Natomas Unified School District today. Tom Rutten and I are, from the Natomas or NP3, and they've already called it. NP3 is not coming back till January. The leaders of these different educational organizations, NUSD, Natomas Charter, Westlake, NP3, we all worked together. We had a meeting, I guess it was the week before we went on October break, and we said, hey, what does it look like here in Natomas? And all of us are, committed to moving forward in responsible ways. So we're working with our regional partners, but we're also working with the Sacramento County Public Health. We have to send our reopening plans up the chain to Dr. Kasari, who is at the Sacramento County Public Health, and she's going to review them and give us feedback. Hey, tweak this, you might want to reconsider this. But for sure, to reopen, all of those previous guidelines apply. You got to be 6 feet apart. You got to be in small cohorts. You got to be masked. You can't have everybody just rush back into school. One thing we have to think about here is we went to school in February. February of 2020, we were all at school. And then we went to distance learning. And then we went to this version of distance learning, which I think is a better version than the first version. But when we say we're reopening school, we're really not reopening school like we knew it in February. It's actually going to be this whole new thing. It's going to be something different. Imagine if you have 10 kids in class and 10 kids at home, and they're on a computer, and these guys are on a computer, and you're wearing a mask, and who's going to help the kids in class with their computer? Because the moms are at home and the dads are at home helping the kids at home. This is a whole new school experience. So we're not going to race into it and fool ourselves thinking we're reopening school. We are reopening campus through these actions, but we're not reopening school as we know it. We knew school. We knew the first version of distance learning. We know what we're doing now. It's the new normal. We're getting pretty good at it. Some of it's really working. It's nobody's first choice, but some of it's working. Whatever we do next is a completely new experiment. And I want to share that because if you're trying to help 10 kids in class and 10 kids at home, it will slow learning down, at least at first. And so we need to be really purposeful working with our partners, calling up our friends in Placer and saying, hey, how's it working? You guys are open. What's it look like? And so we're doing a lot of that work right now. Sorry if I'm over preaching it, you guys. This is such a large lift for our school. It's such important work. We really need to design an instructional model for this new reality that I was just describing, that the kids in class and the kids at home need to have an equitable opportunity every day to engage with their teacher and gain access to the curriculum. And it's got to be done in a safe way. And so again, you look at what's happening now, at least your teacher's not wearing a mask and they're on the computer. Well, now they might be on the computer with a mask on. That's a shift, right? That we have to consider, especially for our youngest children. So we have to determine the best time to transition. Is it tomorrow? Because they said October 13th. Okay, let's jump back. Oh my goodness. This is a big shift, and we have to decide when the right time to transition is because it will slow things down. So one of our big thoughts here is that we want to keep doing what we're doing because we're doing it as best we can, and it's taking all of our energy. We're going to keep doing what we're doing at least through the end of the trimester because we're on a roll to the end of the trimester. We want to see how learning finished in this first trimester before we transition and kind of break the model and start something all new. So at the very least, Westlake is committed to saying, hey, let's finish out the trimester. It's only a few weeks away, and I'll show you that. So let's look at the calendar. So if the county announces October 13th was the first day that schools could now consider reopening, if we get that press release in the morning, that red dot right there on the calendar, that's October 13th. That gives us 4 weeks to the end of the trimester. It seems like that would be not an advantageous time for us to try and reinvent school. First of all, we need at least those 4 weeks to redesign our instructional models, build all of our safety protocols, talk about very clear communications for pickup and drop off and all the things. So there's the end of the trimester. The very next 2 weeks are parent-teacher conferences and Thanksgiving. So that kind of looks like the logical transition times for us are either, right there November 30th, that gives you 3 weeks until winter break, or, doing what Natomas, NP3 is doing and a lot of the other schools look like they're probably going to do, and that is, coming back after the winter break in January. Now, I'm not coming on tonight on this broadcast to make a decision. I just want to be transparent about the thinking that's going into this work. Our board has work to do. Our teacher leadership teams have work to do. And I trust all of the people that are doing this work. And it's good work. We have to make sure that when we do make this transition, that we do it well, because it's going to slow things down, but we want to slow things down so that we can ramp things up. So we need to do this right and take our time to make sure it gets done correctly. So those are the possible windows for reopen that we're looking at right now. So here's the things that we'll do to make sure that our community is informed and to make sure that we are working hard toward a possible reopening. So until November 15th, these are the things we'll do. On November 15th, we promise at the 15th or before, we will communicate when our reopening date is. Hey, if we figure it out before the 15th, we'll let you know, but we want to plant a flag in the sand and say, okay, no later than the 15th, we'll kind of all know before parent conferences start what's going on next, which gives us, at the very least a 2-week transition, knowing it's coming. So we're going to continue facilitating distance learning because we think it's work that's being done well, and we're working incredibly hard at it. So we're going to keep our teachers focused on that. Our leadership team's going to focus on what's next, but our teachers need to focus on what's happening now. We're going to collaborate with our staff, our board, our community partners, regional partners, as well as county public health. We want to hear from our parents. Part of tonight is we'd love to hear from you. Please email admin at Westlake Charter. Please feel free to send in a board comment to our board meeting this Thursday, or use the form tonight. If we're not able to read your form entry tonight, we'll certainly capture it and bring it to us to the board meeting for sure. We'd love to hear from you. We need to develop instructional models and schedules and put together all the information so that our families understand the next steps extremely clearly. We're about to go through a big shift. And you remember last time we went through a big shift, it was we're opening school through distance learning. We produced like a 42-page distance learning handbook. We want you to have the details, so we're not going to rush out and give you something that's inadequate. So give us till November 15th to make sure you have all the details so you can breathe and say, okay, this is what the transition could look like. We need to train all of our staff, not just our teachers, but all of our staff on safety and instructional protocols, to make sure that everything's carried out properly as our kids transition back onto campus. And the last piece for us is just preparing the materials for our students to learn all the safety requirements. We want to make sure there's at least a week potentially of some distance learning safety training before the kids walk on. So while in distance learning, we want to be able to say, this is how we're going to expect you to wash your hands and travel down the hallway and enter campus, and this is what the classroom's going to look like. There's a ton of work to be done to make sure we consider our students when we transition. We can't just throw the kids back in. It'll be a little jarring and shocking. We want to train them and prepare them and get them ready so that when we do launch, they know what's expected of them, and they know what they can expect from us. And so it's a lot of work. Westlake's got the greatest team in the business. I'm excited about everybody we work with, and they're all working on this. We had a phenomenal leadership team meeting yesterday, and they are on this work. It's just going to be a lot of work, and it's a lot of new work. No one's ever done this before, and so we don't take it lightly. We take very seriously our charge for health and safety. We take very seriously our charge of facilitating learning in a collaborative way, in a way that benefits our children. And right now we think we're doing a fine job of the work we're doing in distance learning. We want to do a wonderful job at the next levels as well. And so we'll be clear about what we plan to do. And that ends my reopening wrap. If you haven't seen the letter in the Westlake Weekly, if you missed part of that wrap because I was talking too fast, you go to our Westlake Weekly this week. I think it's the October 11th Westlake Weekly. There's a link in there to a letter that kind of spells all of that out. Ms. Caillou, Mrs. Houston, anything to add to the thoughts that we shared right there on the reopening piece? I know you guys are both muted. I apologize. That went kind of long.
No, I was muted because my little human is making a lot of noise out there, so I apologize. I just think, John, to reiterate what you said about our leadership team, our teachers yesterday are just they're so invested in making the right decisions with us. I have friends in the edu world that, the admin team is making a lot of decisions and to kind of telling the teachers what, this is what we're going to do. And I really feel like shared leadership in this time is so critical. And our teachers are invested. People that are not on this required team come to leadership and want to have. We had one fourth grade teacher just send us a template of what she thought this could work. And I just think the teachers are just so dedicated, and the team. I just reiterate that, John. I'm just proud of our community going slow and thoughtful and continuing to find research that is informing us to make those decisions too about trauma-informed practices and making sure that we're making the right decisions as we move forward. And sometimes I think it might feel slow to our community, John, but I think our community knows that, like you said, the forefront is our health and safety, and then making sure that we're providing the best academic program that we can with considering our social emotional of all of our students and our staff, right?
Yeah, on that note, we really want to collaborate with our community, and everyone had to hold me back from sending out another survey, because I think we've just buried people in surveys. But I was like, we really want to hear from our family. So I think there's going to be a survey in this next week or two where we'll release some details of what we think we're thinking. Hey, this is what next steps kind of look like. It's starting to come together. Give us your thoughts, because we'd love to include our families. It's hard to do that without a survey or a town hall of some sort. So families, if you're out there, we're encouraged by your emails. Please feel free to email admin@Westlake Charter. Again, this form tonight is appropriate. You can even put, don't read online. Just take my comment. You can do that. But we'll be putting out a survey in the next week or two because we want to hear what it looks like to you guys on your side. Ms. Houston, any thoughts you want to share?
No, I really appreciate that. I like how transparent you are. There's so many articles out there right now. Schools should do this. Schools should do that. So many ideas, right? And I read one recently that I found really impactful, that the best thing schools can do is look at the others, like you said, and see what has worked and what hasn't. And so I think that's just a brilliant piece of it, is that watch others and collaborate with them and see how they're doing things and what they found. And I just really appreciate the time that we're taking to figure that all out and all the work that's being done there. So I love it.
It's good stuff. Yeah. If anybody remembers the amazing Megan Peoples, first grade teacher from last year, she's out in Texas now teaching. And I would direct message her on Twitter because I'm like, hey, what's your classroom look like? Because they're back in school. So I'm like, hey, Megan, help us get there. Ms. Caillou, are there any questions in the question tank?
Yeah, I wanted to do this, the trivia first. We have a trivia winner. So did anybody on the screen know what sports we played last year?
Well, yes, I know all of them.
Yes. Which ones did we play?
Okay, so we played flag football and volleyball, and then we played boys and girls basketball, and then we played, did I get all of them? Did I have to do spring? And then
that's it. Oh. Good job.
But didn't we do kickball and dodgeball?
We did.
Dodgeball
we did dodgeball.
The best. Oh, that's right, because spring sports we had to stop, huh?
We didn't do spring sports, but we did dodgeball during basketball.
Right. That was awesome, yeah.
Well, we only asked for a few. So Veronica Hernandez is the winner tonight for that question. So thank you, Veronica. We do have just 2 questions that have come in so far, John. So the first one is, this is a good question, and we kind of answered it, but Amber kind of can be directed towards you. So where does the money raised via WAVE Fundraisers go? Does it go to the school? So we kind of answered it, but if you want to make sure that we are clear about that, Amber, do you want to answer that question?
Sure. It's a direct donation to Westlake.
Yeah.
We give a certain percentage, which is 85% of the money that we brought in the previous year, and we give it directly to the school. And I work with the amazing Steve Corvink in the spring, usually of the previous year, and we come up with the amount that we think that we can donate. And I mean, Mr. Ike, you can kind of go over how it does supplement a lot of the things that wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
It really helps those those things.
I'll give you a couple peeks behind the curtain on the budget side of the house, if it's interesting at all to you. We allocate $87,000 a year for field lessons because we think these really cool field lessons are part of who we are. I've talked to colleagues of mine not too far from here who say, gosh, I had to leave 3 kids home for the overnight field trip because their parents couldn't pay. And I'm like, you did what? Every child goes to every field lesson at Westlake Charter School, or else we don't do the field lesson. Like that is how it works. Now, we have the online donation piece, but we never collect enough on the online field lesson. So Wave, thank you. You supplement that piece there, right? That extra money comes in to help things like that. We have an instructional aid at every grade level, all the way across the organization. We have an art, Spanish, and PE teacher. Our specialties teachers, are a near $500,000 expenditure for the organization. And if you understand like how educational funding works, it's like this classroom has 22 kids, and we get funding from the state for each 22 kids. But that's Mrs. Smith's classroom. This art classroom over here, there's no funding from the state for the art classroom. So the funding from the state goes to pay for the teacher in that room, and then the desks and the chairs and the curriculum and the building and the admin. But who's paying for this over here? Well, Westlake has, worked hard to have $500,000 worth of funding to have these specialties programs exist every year. So we're thin budget. And where did that budget come from? Honestly, every single person that works at Westlake makes a little less money here than they might make somewhere else. But we think it's a great place to work, and money's not everything. But the reality is, like, every dollar donated goes to support these programmatic decisions that really, at the end of the day, make this a better place for our kids. So field lessons, specialties, instructional aids, all of the supports that we have here, they all cost money. The fact that we give out a spirit shirt to every kid on the first day of school, and if you go here for 13 years from kindergarten through 12th grade, you're gonna end up with 13 spirit shirts, right? Like, that's just kind of who we are and how we roll, and we think it's really important to do those things because it's about community. So that money goes to those things. And again, if a family cannot afford to donate a penny, please don't. But we love the idea that we give the opportunity for you to build a little website and say, hey, Grandma, I love my school. I love art, Spanish, and PE. I love that we have, that they gave me a spirit shirt, that we have distance learning kits. Hey, Grandma, if you could donate $5, the school would love it. So we think it's totally appropriate. We're not ashamed to ask because I think we do a lot with less because we are funded less as a charter school than a traditional public school. So we get a little less money, but I think we do a little more than some people around us. So I'm proud of that work, and I think our partnership with Wave definitely helps us do that.
And then really over the last few years, we've added a lot of programs that we didn't previously have, like the Explorer Athletic program that doesn't cost a penny. Everyone gets to play, and they have uniforms and they get shorts. I mean, it's just fantastic. And then additionally, last year, Wave paid for Missoula Children's Theater to come out, and we had around 100 kids perform. This is the second year, but that was last year. Wave paid for it, and we had about 100 kids perform in this amazing production where they rehearsed for about a week and then had 2 productions, which was fantastic. So there's a lot of enrichment that goes on as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because you have clubs, and that although those clubs are free and they're parent-led through parent volunteerism, there is a coordinator who works at Westlake Charter School who gets paid to help coordinate that. Athletics, same thing. Like, all of these enrichment pieces that we do are coordinated by staff members, and it costs money. So yeah, we're super appreciative of the work of Wave to bring those donations in. Keep them coming. Other questions in the forum, Mrs. Caillou? Gosh, we're not.
Yeah, one of the questions actually went to fundraising as well, but it was more out for the constituents that are listening, asking about if for the dine-in option for a fundraiser, the parent said this question, fundraising question, where would you like to see us partner with for a dine-in takeout fundraiser? And we love out to businesses, but with COVID it's difficult. I love new ideas. So I think reaching out to Amber or the team to make sure and give those ideas for whoever's out here. I know John might vote for Chipotle again.
I think they're asking us, the 3 of us. So
really?
I'm going to go ahead and I think the question is, hey, Mr. Ike, where do you think we should go? And then Mrs. Caillou, Mrs. Houston, you need to chime in as well. I'm definitely going to say Chipotle.
I would love to support some small businesses, some small restaurants.
Yeah.
Most of them, when we first reached out, weren't ready for that because a lot of them were still trying to kind of reopen. But maybe in spring, we would love to support some local restaurants.
Yeah,
ideas, you have connections, anything.
Yeah, the waffle experience, Chicken and Waffle is a local non-franchise. Bella Brew. I mean, there's so many hey, a person who lives here owns that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Caillou, what would your vote be?
I don't know.
Burger?
I don't know.
Any burger joint that has root beer.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, should I tell everybody?
Yes.
Any place with a good burger, I would sign up to do, because that's my favorite food. I've been going to the hot seat to all these morning meetings, and the kids will say, "What's your favorite food?" And I'm like, I whisper into the camera, "A burger, a cheeseburger," and all of them giggle because it's funny. Because a grown up, that's I love cheeseburgers, so there it is.
I gotta tell you, everybody, for whoever's still listening, Mrs. Caillou and I used to work at the Pebblewood campus when she ran the middle school back on Pebblewood. On a really tough day, things were hard. You'd walk in the office, you open up Ms. Caillou's office door, she's like, cheeseburger and a root beer. She's like, hey, this is my comfort food. This is a tough day. I love it, man. I love it. I love it.
Okay, then we'll be on the lookout for cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers and root beer.
Thank you for caring.
Are there any other questions, Jen?
One of the questions came in, an FAQ about Spanish instruction, specifically for our 8th graders. And I'd love to talk about it for just really quickly. Is we do have a goal for students that are leaving our 8th grade program that they will be prepared to head into Spanish too. And so Mrs. Grimaldi and I and John have met and really made a plan to help our 8th graders, specifically this year, meet that goal, because it's a little different. They're not getting that in-class instruction. Right. And Mrs. Grimaldi has provided a club for any 8th grader that wants to be a part of it, so that we can keep that up for them. And she was so happy. She sent us an email over break, and she said instead of 10 kids signing up, there were 39 students that showed interest because they want to, and so and it's extra work for them. They need to come to Google Meet with her and prepare. But I think we want to stay true to that and help our students to reach their goals. And a lot of our kids have been working really hard at Spanish for a long time, and we want to make sure that they go there, and Mrs. Grimaldi knows what to do to prepare them for that. So that's one of the questions that came in, John. And one last question in here.
Before you go to the last question, I just got to give a shout out to Mrs. Grimaldi. Mrs. Grimaldi is just crushing it. If you haven't been to the Spanish website, of course, you're all parents watching, so you probably have. But she is just on fire. Mrs. Grimaldi is carrying it on Spanish. And the fact that she said, well, can I do more? Can I do a Spanish club to make sure our 8th graders don't miss out on this great opportunity to skip Spanish 1 and go into Spanish 2? Mrs. Grimaldi is Westlake all day, every day. She is such an explorer. So shout out to Grimaldi.
She also on the Wave page and asked people what their kids like and what they don't. And she's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, well done. She's awesome. Sorry, Ms. Caillou, is there one more and we'll wrap it up?
There's just one more question in it, and said, can you give a brief explanation of the different committees at Westlake Charter School? And I think that's probably your board committees, right?
Yeah. Oh man, whoever you are, come get on a committee with us.
Okay, it's going to take 20 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Come on. So our Westlake Charter Board several years ago really invested deeply in how can we be more responsive to the community and be a part of the community in more ways than just coming to this meeting once a month as a board. So the board looked around at the different work that the board does and says, hey, we can have board committees, kind of standing committees who do more granular work, and once that work is ready, it gets elevated to the board and say, hey board, the impact committee has redrafted this portion of the strategic plan. Would you like to, review this and potentially authorize this? So we have 4 board committees. The committees have to have at least one board member on them. They have at least one staff member, typically myself or Mr. Corvink, assigned to them as their, as their staff liaison. And then they can have non-board members on the committee, which is a really great way for you to tiptoe into board work. If you're interested as a parent on maybe serving on the board, but you're like, I don't really know that much about the board, come serve on a committee. And once you're on a committee, it's kind of a gateway to like, oh, I get this. I'm good at this. This works for me. I can maybe be on the board someday. So the 4 committees. First one is the governance committee. This committee goes over board policies, keeps an eye on recent legislation that's going through the Assembly or through the Senate, and keeping an eye on charter laws and legislation and then brings it to that committee and reviews policy and says, hey, I see this policy coming down the pipe. We're going to probably have to review our board policy before this thing kicks in. So there's the governance committee. If you're kind of like a governance nerd like me, you love that one. The finance committee speaks for itself. I mean, that is our budget committee. Steve Korvick, our CBO, who's phenomenal, is the staff lead on that one. I attend with him all the time, but he's the big brains of the finance operation. And it's really, we're currently, talking about things like every year we do our annual compensation review, looking at how our staff are compensated. We look at financing future endeavors like our high school, and we look at our fiscal, overview every year, our budget. That's the finance committee. All of these committees are public, so when you see the link, come watch. If you want to just hang out with some people, kind of nerding out on some finance or governance, please come to our committee meeting. We'd love it. The third committee is our development committee, much like Amber's been talking about with fundraising. The development committee's job is to create relationships with other businesses, local, regional, and national, and make sure that those businesses are, mission aligned with Westlake. And then we celebrate those partnerships through our Explore Partners website. And then we're ramping up toward future capital campaign fundraising. One of the things that the team talked about last month was the possibility of maybe doing a capital campaign that says, hey, how much money would we have to raise through our corporate sponsors and partners to make sure that every freshman in our new high school next year got to get on a bus, go down to LA and visit the Tolerance Museum in LA, and then visit because that Tolerance Museum really thematically aligns with the work that we talk about in our mission. So how can we do that? And so really, what a neat deal if the development committee could create corporate partners that made sure every kid could go. Nobody gets left behind because of dollars and cents. And then the fourth committee is the Westlake Charter School Impact Committee. Now, they were the committee that originally drafted the strategic plan because their job is to really look at, like, what is the impact of Westlake Charter School? Why be a charter school at all? Why not, why do we need charter schools? Because charter schools are supposed to demonstrate what's possible. We're innovative think tanks that do things differently, experiment and innovate, and then say, hey, look, we found a new way of doing things. So the Impact Committee is about measuring our mission and our strategic plan and making sure that we're setting our sights on the next level stuff. And right now Impact is working on this social justice transformation, or reflection, action transformation framework as well at the board level. It's really good work. So you're right. It went a long time. And we said 20 minutes. I just love me some committees. So we meet once a month. If you want to be fly on the wall, please join, watch, leave a public comment if you want to. It all runs kind of by Robert's Rules of Order. And if you want to join a committee, reach out to me at admin@westlakecharter.com, and we'll walk you through what that looks like. We would love to have community members join those committees.
And then there's a board meeting this Thursday, and all the committees report.
Yeah.
And that's a way to learn about them as well.
Yeah, great point. Every single board meeting, which are now on YouTube, the committees report out. So that was a great question. Okay, team, we're 15 or 13 minutes over. Are we wrapping it up, or Jen, you raise your hand?
Yeah, I just had one thing, and it came in more just as a comment, and there were two very similar ones about schedules for our littlest explorers and making sure that they are communicated with ahead of time and that parents are aware if there are changes. And I think, John, that's something we talk about a lot, right, to our teachers about trauma-informed practices, say that our schedules and whatnot should be reliable and consistent. And so I hear that from families, and we will continue to work with our staff to make sure that you're communicated so that you know when your little person needs to hop on that Google Meet. And so we appreciate the feedback there. And I think one little piece of that was not just the schedule, but maybe what learning outcomes we're working on. And so we typically try to do that on our Friday newsletter, where we talk about what is to come. And so just making sure it's a good time for us to look back and make sure that our communication is tight and explicit and really goes over learning that's going to be happening the next week's in sport at home.
You know, Ms. Caillou, credit to you and to Mrs. Batten before you and the whole team. You guys have been doing this. I'm really proud of the communications structures that are in place now as we've looked over the last 7 years and improved those practices. But honestly, we always have room for improvement. There are certainly glitches in the system, especially now during distance learning. I mean, all kinds of glitchy things happen. We apologize to our families for any inconvenience, and we're thankful for the collaboration and the feedback. So keep it coming. Make us better. That's all we want, is to be better every day. Anything left in the tank, Mrs. Caillou?
No, I think we addressed all of the things that came in. So I love all the different types of questions and concerns that people have out there. Make it better for sure.
It's good stuff. Well, hey, Mrs. Husted, our WAVE president, thank you for being here. Mrs. Caillou, our amazing K-8 principal, thank you for being here. For all of you families who stuck with us through Coffee Talk, thanks for being here. And as always, let's explore. And there we go. It's over.
Sorry, my toddler was just about